Was this the point? Like, was it Rossi and Erickson like having a chit chat, and Rossi was like, "Dude, you're doing it wrong. That's not how you should. This is not how Ericksonian is done. This is you have to be more content free." Or was it like, Ernest Rossi took it from Erickson and then started playing with it, and it kind of grew over the years?
That's right. We don't believe in the word wrong.
Well, you know what I mean. It was an implied joke in there.
No, but I know this is what's said. People say, "Oh no, you're not doing the process right. You didn't say the right words, or you didn't do the actions in the right order." And certainly, what we say is, and this sort of raises a few eyebrows when we say what we're doing now is where Erickson was heading. But sadly, he passed. He was doing less and less and less and less. I mean, he had post-polio disorder. He was hardly audible. All those extraordinary metaphors, he wasn't doing those anymore. But he was eliciting them from the clients, evoking them as Jeff Zeig now taught, being evocative. But even less evocative than people like Jeff Zeig and Michael Yapko, we just let it emerge. And what Ernie does is he uses the opposites. There's always the opposite. If you can have pain, then you can have not pain. If you can have smoking, then you can have not smoking. If you can have anxiety, then you can have not anxiety. But what happens is these dominant things tend to dominate the whole experience. And all people feel is the anxiety or the habit or the pain particularly.
Yeah.
So if you can separate them and put the thing that we want to get rid of, or the thing that is the problem, over in one hand, and somehow get that to leave the picture, and fascinatingly, clients will do it with great deal of willingness and enthusiasm, and then go, okay, if we've got the pain out of the way, the pain is out of the way, what's in this hand, I wonder? And here's something that's even more intriguing. If someone comes to me for pain, now remembering that I deal with a lot of much more serious complaints, I tend not to deal with the standard type of, I want to get rid of some action, I want to get rid of something. Yeah. But regardless of what it was, if it was smoking, if it were weeding, if it were gambling, I wouldn't even say, put the pain, which hand, we say which hand wants to receive. Again, we ask, which hand wishes to receive whatever it is about that pain? I wonder. I don't know if it's the pain or if it's, I don't know. And I can't tell you the number of people who say, yes, the pain is going in there. Oh, but it's not the pain anymore. Now it's something else. And then we begin to find out deeper elements. But sometimes it is what it is in the moment. If I'm doing 20 people or 10 people in a room, I'm sure you've seen many demonstrations. I mean, Freddie Jaquin, a lovely friend of mine who's marvelous, and he'll have 10 people in a line, and he'll be doing a process. And every single one of them will more or less go through the same process. If he says, your hand will raise, they'll all raise their hand. If it goes to the cheek, then you go into a deeper trance, and so on and so forth. Beautiful and excellent, and achieves great things. But to stand in front of 10 people and have every single one of them go somewhere entirely unique to them is an extraordinary experience. You really have to work hard as the trainer
to contain everyone. To keep an eye,
watch
keep
them
tabs
all.
on.
But as an actor, of course, I was trained to take in whole audiences.
I hope you're not saying now that only people who train as actors or songwriters can do this, because it's gonna kind of narrow down our audience, right?
No, I just took a long time to learn how to learn about this stuff. Although I do think it'd be a wonderful thing to explore. Explore your poetry, explore your painting, explore your dramatics. No. People don't. I would wish that would be a punishment. It's a hell of a profession to be in. I much prefer this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you, if you were to, you know, give like a very brief presentation of what is mirroring hands, how would that sound?
So I would suggest very simply that mirroring hands has a formalized process that we have written about, and we show half a dozen different ways in which it commonly is expressed and commonly used. But mirroring hands is a unique, exciting, creative, co-creative experience using the opposites, using the hands as receivers. So that externalizes the issue. So if we're dealing with trauma, we don't want to go inside and look at the trauma. We want to put it somewhere we can handle. And when I do the workshop, I describe some of the neuroscience that shows how in our brains we have very, very big hands and very, very big lips and tongue. And the beauty of the hands is that you can then move things around, and the hands can be very active in their own right. So by using the hands, we have receivers that the participants can control and that they can give activities to and have a great sensitivity, and also by movement and by touch. And that in doing so, we are able to allow them to move into the trance that they wish. And there is an induction process that we can use. I must admit, now that I do it all the time, it almost emerges spontaneously from the client, who'll be going, oh, but I've got this and I've got that. I don't know what to do with each one. And I'll say, oh, but we do it by focusing attention like everybody else. Focus on your hands. And as you focus on your hand, your brain complies, your motor and sensory motor cortex comply and give lots of activity. And those hands start to become very big and very sensitive. And as you focus on your hands, I wonder if you can feel a difference between the hands. And we go through various alternatives: hot, cold, heavy, sometimes old or young, sometimes intuitive things that I've never even said before. And blow me down, it always works. And one of them will feel different. And there you have that shift of reality. So reality has now been dropped, and you now have created a reality. And then you'll be sitting there, and sometimes a finger will go. You go, oh, now I didn't ask for that finger to go. But once it goes, it's doing something. And so we follow it. I say, that finger. Then we decide that the hands are different. So we have the opposites. That's the mirror. So it's the mirror like Alice in the Looking Glass, where it's not sort of the mirror where it's a reflection of the same. It's the opposite of the opposites. Then we'll say, I wonder which hand wants to receive. We still don't even say it's that hand where the finger moved. And some people say that hand, but then they go, oh no, this hand wants to receive. So the client is having so much input. And there, as Erickson said, the task of the therapist is to cast the burden of therapy back to the client, because it's the client that does all the work. And I know in a lot of more directive therapies, they let go of control after a while, but you really can do it from the very beginning. So we do this induction of focused attention, of noticing an ideomotor or dynamic. Sometimes they say it just feels a little bit old or young or happy or sad. So you can get a ideodynamic, which is the term that Ernest Rossi brought in with David Cheek in their book on mind-body healing. Because Cheek liked ideomotor, but ideodynamic can come in different ways. And then often the larger part of the process can be done in silence. And essentially, once the process begins, once the connection is made, once the hands begin to receive, something will happen, things will happen, and you can go with it. And if a hand begins to move down, that's when I say, and I wonder if that hand will move down as it goes through the process. And so on, and it can fall down to the lap. Then when it goes to somewhere, or you can see the change, we'll move to the other hand. And I wonder what is in the other hand, what that wishes to receive.